Good afternoon, everyone, and namaste. Very warm welcome to the webcares session today. As always, webcares is about women entrepreneurs who just don't grow businesses, they grow healthier and lead stronger lives. I welcome you all on behalf of Apollo Hospitals as well, and I'm Dr. Srinidhi Chidambaram. Today's topic is something that every one of us can resonate with: eating right when your calendar is packed, when your phone never stops buzzing, and someone always needs you. We are calling today's session the Entrepreneur's Plate because what we put on our plate directly fuels our performance, our hormones, our focus, our metabolism, and ultimately our long term health. Today's format is slightly different from the usual. We actually have some members from web who are joining the discussion with their real questions and real experiences. We also, as part of this session, as a prelude, ran a nutrition awareness poll across the web community, and we had a great response. And the two women who topped the poll are also invited to today's session. I hope you're joining. Ms. Mantasha Salim Khan and Ms. Kushbu Ben Lakshman Bai Parmar. If you're here, hearty congratulations and do chip in with the questions at the end of the session. And we invite you to join us on this webinar and make it truly viewer-led. So thanks to all of you for being here, not just as entrepreneurs, but as the voice of thousands of women across our country who are balancing ambition, energy, health, and responsibility every day of their lives. Today's theme, however, is not about dieting. It's not about just weight loss. It is about energy, strength, focus, hormones, gut health, mental health, and ultimately long-term performance and well-being. And supporting us with the science, the sense, and the solutions is our expert from Apollo Hospitals, Dr. Ms. Anita Jatana, who is a very, very senior consultant at Indraprastha Apollo Hospitals, New Delhi. She's a consultant dietetics and nutrition and a very well-known person in her own right. She's had several distinguished achievements, such as being the convener of the Delhi chapter of the Indian Dietetic Association from 2019 to 2021. She's been the convener of Net Profan. She's been the vice president of the IAPN India Delhi chapter and has over 45 years of experience in the field of nutrition. She's been awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award by the Laika for dedicated contributions in the field of dietetics in 2023, the Poshan Shri Award celebrating a visionary in the field of dietetics. She's also been awarded a Scroll of Honor for Professional Achievement from the Lady Irwin College, awarded for outstanding contribution to the field of dietetics at our Founders Day celebrations, and certified diabetic educator, completed various certificate courses, TNT in enteral and parenteral nutrition, and several other certificates, participated in several FICCI and international conferences, was involved in the Directorate of Education's midday meal program, and has presented more than 100 scientific papers in different national platforms, contributed chapters in several books, edited a book on Apollo clinical nutrition, and also curated a book called My Food, My Health. Thank you so much, Ms. Jatana, for joining us. And I'm so glad to welcome you to our webcast session. As you know that the webcast sessions have been going on for several months, and we've built up a nice, vibrant community where the women participate and have already sent in loads of questions. So we hope for more questions from you all as we go along in this session. But just to set the context of why we are talking about the entrepreneur's plate exactly, is because this group of women often skip meals. They at least skip one meal daily. And many run on coffee, tea, and try to cut carbohydrates in a desperate bid to balance things. They do experience many symptoms like fatigue or hair fall or mental fog or thyroid issues, which they attribute to everything other than the poor nutrition. And I think almost everyone feels that I know what's right. So this is one area where everybody is the expert, or at least has read
Agree.
enough to be an expert. But they say that we actually know what's right, but we can't follow it consistently. But today is not about guilt. It's really about practical nutrition that fits into your lifestyle and your entrepreneurial career, really. So let's just jump straight in. So I'm going to begin by asking, can I call you Anita?
Yeah, please. And thank you and namaste to everybody.
Yes.
Thank you
So,
for those kind
yeah.
words. Yeah, we'll take the show.
Yeah. So, can we then start by first talking about what exactly what is the ideal? Because everybody has their own perception of what is the ideal body composition or the body weight. But I think we should begin by asking you first, what is the ideal body weight for a woman? And of course, the question of the BMI and the body composition also comes in. Over to you.
So we can also show the slide, but I'm going to share a little secret. Please, everybody keep it to themselves. For women, very simple. Height minus 105 is your ideal body weight. For your spouse, a little different, their height minus 100. So they are luckier, right? So very simple. And we'll show the first picture. I want to show this first to everybody. We are talking about these super women, the multitaskers, always 10 things they're doing on their own, right? And then we talk about weight because they're not eating well. So we talk about BMI. So we don't need any machines or going anywhere to know where we stand in our weight and height. Anything at home will tell you. A quick calculation of the BMI. Then we have the little BMI slide. Everybody will be able to judge it beautifully. Yes. So just take your weight in kgs divided by height square in meters. You even have an app. Everybody's phone will tell you. Just put in your weight and height. Anything above 23 for Asian is something that we start looking at closely, and you want to nudge it back before it becomes obese, because then it becomes very difficult to get it back. So fight for and try and maintain it. A simple inch tape at home. I think we all have it. You don't even have a weighing scale. Just do an inch tape. So waist circumference for men, again, they are lucky at 90 and women at 80. Simple waist circumference if you're there, and this is more correlated to your metabolic health. And the waist hip ratio, again, divide your waist and your hip. You have a 0.90 level for men and 0.85. So anything more than that, you are at risk for metabolic health. So all you need to do is stand on the weighing scale, take out an inch tape, and you know where your health is. So we start from here, and then we try and maintain this. This is very, very important for all the women.
So, how do we achieve this? So, like starting off with what exactly a balanced meal is. So, what is the right? So, we're talking about the entrepreneur's plate. So, I guess it's the same plate for everybody. So, what is the right plate distribution then?
Okay, so making it simple, one, if you're overweight, take a smaller plate, because the first thing is visual. So if you have a smaller plate, you'll eat smaller quantities. You like to see your plate full when you are eating. Divide it half with fruits and vegetables. Simple thing. Can be salads, can be whole fruits, can be saute vegetable, can be cooked vegetable, but make sure that half plate this side is just fruits and vegetable. Take a small portion of carbohydrates, the good ones, right? The ones with good fibers, and make sure that the proteins are there. We Indians really miss out on our protein, especially once we are, taking it to office. The only thing we can think is maybe a chapati and a vegetable. We don't tend to eat either a pulse or a curd. You get small packaged curds these days. Make sure that you've carried a little proteins with you, whole salads if you're working from office. But if you're home, then of course, this is the healthy plate. Don't forget the water and of course, minimum oil if you're calorie counting. Yes. So this is very simple way to do it. Doesn't need any weights. You don't have to do things on the weighing scales. Just make sure that you've included all these ingredients into your food plate.
I think this is also something that's so important because I think the very colorful sight of a nicely filled plate with different food items is likely to be more satisfying than to just have one, to cut out whole food groups. So you
And
also
include
you
a
get
different vegetable every day. If you take carrots, you've got vitamin A, if you've got broccoli, you've got antioxidants happening. So, and in winter, green leafy vegetables are huge. So just make sure that you've done your vegetables and fruit, you've got your fiber happening. Choose between healthy grains. Even if you're a rice eater, you can make that rice healthier by adding a lot of vegetables to it. So even if you're cooking one thing, that one thing can be healthy. You've added your fibers into that rice. And once you've done that, the glycemic index also becomes better. So even as a diabetic, you can do it as long as it's a portion control of it. And of course, non-vegetarians can have fish, chicken, eggs, everything. And of course, for the vegetarian, make sure that you've included your dals. For lunch, whole dals are a good thing to do because they come with fibers, soluble fibers. And for dinner, you can make it lighter. Even cottage cheese is a good substitute. Tofu is a good substitute. So a lot of protein supplements we have there, which can be included. It doesn't have to be a dal every day, so you can change it also.
This is a viewer-led session, so I think for a change, I'm not going to kind of leave all those questions to the end. So I'm going to pipe in with questions from our audience. So as we talk about oils and healthy oils, here's Shreya asking about can we cook in olive oil?
There are different types. Virgin olive oil is only for salads, which you're not supposed to cook. The pomace olive oil is what you can use for cooking. So no problem at all.
Okay. But
And
is that
for the
true that
Indian
you have?
variants, we have, yeah, for the Indian variants, we do have the other oils also. You can also choose between mustard and peanut oil. So if you don't find olive oil within your budget, the other ones are also available.
What about sesame oil? Is that also all right? Because in the South, a lot of that is used as well.
Yeah, no problems at all on that either.
All right. So we were talking about
There's
portion.
another question. Cold compressed, yes, they are better.
All right.
There was a question
How,
coming up.
correct. And how important is portion control? You've already said it's important, but how do you assess what kind of portions to have for each of these food groups?
Portion control is very important because if you overeat in the cereal, then you're missing out on your protein. So, portion control of all the food ingredients, as I said, vegetables, grains, making sure that you included your proteins, it gives you a better control of sugars, gives you more satiety. So, if you had your fibers, it's better satiety. If you have your proteins, it's better satiety. While if you have only a rice with maybe a potato curry, then it's totally, carbs. So, there'll be a sugar rush and then it'll suddenly dip. So portion control of all the food is very important. So all food groups should be included in the plate.
Right. The other important question which we often face is about carbs. So carbs have been painted in a very bad villainous light among most diets, and one does have this doubt whether we should. Is there a right type of carb, or is there a total no carb food? I mean, is it like good to have no carbs at all? And here I also wanted to club another question that did come up from one of our viewers about how to include millets and traditional rice varieties. So now you do get a lot of these brands that sell all the homegrown, the reds and the blacks and different types of brown rice. So what would your advice be on the general idea of carbs?
Well, there's nothing like good or bad carbs, right? Carbs are definitely required. The first body needs is energy, and carbs give you energy. So we went through initially a no-fat diet, then we came back, no fats are good. Now the latest is a no-carb diet. Not right at all. Carbs are good, but the right type of carbs. The carbohydrates with fiber are fine, including millets, as you said, is a good way of improving on those carbohydrates. Oats, whole wheat, barley, and then doing ragi, bajra. So using as a multigrain atta would make sure that you've improved on that carbohydrates. Avoiding too much of white flour, sugar, sugary drinks definitely are a no. So those carbs are the one that we are talking about when we say no carb diet. Even milk gives you good carbohydrates. Pulses also come with a little carbohydrates and proteins. So they definitely need to be included in the diet. Otherwise, the proteins will not be utilized for what they're supposed to be utilized. They will again go for your energy needs. So the energy needs are the first thing, and carbohydrates get converted to glucose. But how slowly they get converted to glucose depends on the carbohydrate that you had. So if you have a glass of juice, it's an immediate conversion to glucose. But if you have a fruit, which goes with the fiber, it's also carbs, but it's a slow curve where it's turning to glucose. So it's like, fruit is healthier than a glass of juice. So it's the same thing, but how you consume it is important.
What would you then suggest would be so coming to the entrepreneurial or the career woman who's probably leaving home early and who's probably eating at work? What are some, we did speak about the plate and the portions. So if you were to practically say what would be some easy meal options for women, I mean, I know Indian cuisine is highly varied regionally, and we do have people from all over India, and there are also all the Western type of options also, which salads and wraps and things like that as well. So, would you like to give us some options on what people could carry to work? Uh, Sometimes they might have to put it together themselves, they may not have help at home. So, what's the ideal thing?
I would first say don't miss your breakfast, however hurried you are. And if you do 10 minutes pre-planning at night, if you just soak the oats and keep it in the refrigerator and top it up with milk, top it up with seeds, nuts and seeds, keep an egg to boil if you're a non-vegetarian, or steam sprouts. So you think sprouts are time consuming? They're not. All it needs is soaking the dal at night and then leaving it in a sieve the next day, leaving it alone for 24 hours. If you want, you can give it a little steam and top it up with onions and, tomatoes and maybe even a little mint chutney on top to sort of make it more spicy and interesting. Carry it with you. Eat it the moment you reach office if you think you didn't have time. But if you blend this oats, nuts, seeds together, it's absolutely an amazing drink. And it takes you a minute to sort of drink it up. And you had everything in it. You've got your omega-3, you got your calcium, so you got your cereals, and you've had an egg, you got your proteins, or you have a sprouts. Or you take cottage cheese, put it into a toaster, make a hot toast. That's it. It takes you a minute. The cooking time is not there. So it's just making sure that you have the cottage cheese at home. So the proteins must happen for breakfast. And I would suggest, rice cooker, put in your vegetables, put in your rice, put in a pulse, maybe chana dal soaked. You're out of the kitchen. By the time you're ready, your palau is ready with all the things. It's got its fiber, it's got its cereals, it's got its proteins. If you a little more time, you can do a scrambled egg or boiled egg or cottage cheese into it. Absolutely healthy, and you spent no time at all in the kitchen. Or make a dough with greens, with the pulse. So if the only thing you're carrying a parathi, it had everything in it. It had your proteins, it had your fiber, it had your green leafy vegetables in it, and the only thing you did was make two chapatis for yourself rather than three things. Ki sabji banaya, dal banaya. Somebody told me, ki, can we speak a little in Hindi? So I'm going to be speaking a little in Hindi and English. Simple. So it's not time consuming. And boiling chanas or rajmas and all are the simplest things to do. You just have to keep them in the pressure cooker. By the time you are ready, the rajmas and chanas are ready. And एक टाइम मसाला बना के रखो, उसमें डालो, out of the kitchen. That's it. So it doesn't have to be
I
time
think
consuming at
what
all.
you really mean is that I think our audience, I mean, like people who are running businesses and having careers will also be very good at planning. So I'm sure they can make out a plan for each day of the week. And we do have some lovely meal planners and diaries, and it's quite fashionable these days to journal. So it's, I think, quite easy to plan. And I think, as you say, if you have the things ready at home, it's not easy to, I mean, it's quite easy to make.
Easy to do, and don't miss out on food
Yeah,
groups.
that's fun. Um, so here I think we've also answered this question which came up about how to balance Indian food to make it healthier. So you've already told us about cooking in the right oils. You've also said about using sprouts and pulses and adding multigrain flour. Any other tips for making traditional Indian food healthier?
Well, you can do idlis, you can do dosas, uttapam, and make it in a different way. You can also have oats powder ready. You can add it to the idli, or if you're making a pancake, you can add gram flour, oats powder, and then make a pancake with it and top it up with vegetables. So, you can actually play with all the ingredients which are there in the kitchen to make a difference. Even it can be a vegetable idli, or if you had leftover chapatis, if you added just saute vegetables to it and took the leftover chapati, which they say is healthy now because of the probiotics, and add a little protein to it. So you've used your leftover chapatis, you added your veggies, and if you have small children in the house and they're fussing about food, the same can be done with macaroni and noodles. So it doesn't have to be just noodles or it doesn't have to be just macaroni. So a lot of vegetables, a small portion of noodles, and make sure that the protein still happen. So add a little cheese or add the cottage cheese, or if you had sprouts sitting in the fridge, you can add that, or you can do a scrambled egg, or you can do a little chicken which was lying in the fridge, boiled, you can add that. So that the child is fussing for something more interesting rather than picking up a phone and ordering from outside. This can be absolutely healthy made at home, even for a child. So if the child is fussing and insisting on, give me money, I want to eat something better in school, you can do that for the lunch boxes also, which is a big challenge for the mothers who are working. And these are not time consuming again.
I'm going to now again interrupt with two questions. So, hi Sudha and hi Bhavani. Both of them have asked about proteins. So, Sudha asks, can I eat yoga bars of I guess she means the protein bars which are available in different brands. And there's Bhavani asking about protein powder. She says she does go to the gym daily and 35 years old. So that's another thing which I think a lot of people
Yeah.
find it. I mean, there are protein powders and protein powders. So sometimes it is a good option for vegetarians to add that little bit of extra protein. But what are your views on that, as well as the protein bars?
Cindy, I'd like to just start with a word of caution. Don't overdo on proteins. As much as I am emphasizing कि protein खाना है, हर meal में होना है, but we've had a couple of cases, and I think everybody would have read it in the papers, कि बहुत ज़्यादा protein लिया था उसने because the gym instructor had, instructed him that you need a high protein and you wanted to do muscle building and at that age, teenager. And he ended up with a very high protein, and he was rushed to hospital with hypertension, and then they found that his kidneys had got affected. So I've had a couple of patients also with high urea creatinine, and they were not renal patients. They didn't have kidney problems, but they were overdoing on proteins. So anybody who starts on protein supplements must do it under guidance. Mm, uh, when anybody comes to me, I assess, tell me what you're eating. I would calculate how much is the protein intake that you're on. If I find a gap, and if I can give it from natural foods, I would give it to them. And if they're really doing weights, then on the day they're doing weights, I would give them. But make sure it's not overdoing food proteins and the supplements and creatine. Please be very, very careful on how much you need. It has to be a very fine balancing act, not just do it on your own. So some of the gym instructors are not nutritionists, so they would not be able to do the fine judgment on what are your protein needs. So no. And the question on bars, please read the food labels. If it is too high in sugar, then it's not protein. But if you're absolutely missing a meal and you're probably on flights or you got stuck somewhere, then yes. But as a daily replacement, I'd rather that you have normal natural foods.
Coming now to the frequency of meals, so we have again various theories about this. So people advocating 3 meals or eating every 2 hours, and then there's this whole thing about intermittent fasting, and we have our own ladies who all miss meals, maybe lunch or, but many a time with women or with many working people, what happens is you miss a meal and then get very hungry later, and then you would crave unhealthy things or fill up on sugary stuff. So, is that one size fits all for everyone, or is it something like the best frequency for women, or is it like, is there a rule for that?
You answered my question. There's no one fits all. Absolutely right. See, having proper 3 meals is good because then you don't tend to munch in between. But if you think it's more structured because you have a balanced meal, you have a proper breakfast and you have a proper lunch and then you have a balanced dinner when you go back. But if you are prone to acidity or you have a hiatus hernia or you have a slow gut where you feel that if you overeat at one time, you feel bloated. So then I would then prescribe smaller or divide the breakfast. I'd probably give them the cereal with the milk in the morning, or if they're not tolerating milk and they have lactose intolerance, I would give them a curd substitute instead, which most people then tolerate better. And I'll ask them to take the protein a little later. And a little fruit and salads just before lunch gives you a little sugar spike when you start feeling a little tired, rather than reaching out to cookies and namkeens and salted snacks. So I would give them a little fruit at that time, followed with lunch, something very light at tea time because you've had a long day, now you want to eat something. Then a good snack at that time, a protein snack at that time can be roasted nuts, can be seeds again, or can be chickpeas. These days you get this very nice roasted chickpeas. Can be popcorns, with a small amount of popcorns become that much in volume. So, and they come with fiber again. So if you have that with your tea and make it a little snacky, you're not very hungry when you reach home. Because the moment you reach home, then you open a box, you'll open some biscuits, you'll have some salty things, which are high in calories, which are high in trans fats. So we don't want that to happen. Or start with a nice, I'll call it a fruit and a salad chart. Spice it up with a little lemon, make it a little interesting so it's not a boring orange every day. So make it a little different, picking up different seasonal fruits. I would give that before dinner. Winter's coming, Delhi is going to become freezing now. A hot soup followed with a good dinner plate. Eat a dinner early so that you sleep a little better. So I would say it depends on what you are. If you are a diabetic, very little diabetic, your sugars tend to go down. Then 5. If you have acidity, then 5. But if you tend to snack on wrong foods in between, or if you want to have namkeens and samosas and pakoras in between, then 3 structured meals are what's best work for you. So I would give them only 3 meals.
Um, Also, there is this balance between, everybody reads. I mean, there's a lot of information on social media, and there's always these superfoods that are touted. But at the same time, there is this perception that some of it may not be within the budget of every family. So, what would you suggest for, if somebody has low cost options for nutrition and for balanced diet to keep healthy? What would be, I mean, is it that you only have to eat avocados and things like that, or what would be cheaper options, or maybe what is available in maybe throughout the country, in all pockets, you might not get all these terribly fancy health foods. So what should somebody choose if their access or their affordability is not as much?
Uh, I think it's a misconception that only the expensive foods are healthy. We are talking a lot about quinoa, but we have our millets. So why not choose between our millets, barley, ragi, which are not expensive at all. Flax seeds are not expensive. If you think walnuts are expensive, you still have your peanuts and chickpeas roasted, which will also give you protein and satiety. And we started with that question, should we use olive oil? Yes. But if it's expensive, you have your mustard oil and peanut oil. So those are your cheaper options. Taking seasonal fruits and taking seasonal vegetables are always the best. Taking a guava is loaded with vitamin C. Why do we have to look at kiwi? Absolutely not required. Oranges now in season. You don't have to look towards mangoes in the season or watermelons in the season. So buy seasonal always. You'll find, yes, in fact, they're better in quality. Their nutrients are better because they've not gone through the cold storage. And they are obviously cheaper than what you buy off season. So even for vegetables, buying green leafy vegetables now, doing methi, palak, sarson ka saag, of course, how we Punjabis are fond of makki ki roti and sarson ka saag. So great thing to do. So, and makki ki atta is not expensive at all. So why do we only want to do quinoa? Yes, it is a complete cereal in itself, while most of the other cereals are missing in one of the amino acids. But if you combine cereal with a pulse, it becomes a complete protein. So you don't have to do a premium price buying one thing. And millets, one word of caution, don't overdo it on millets also. The guidelines are to have 1/3 of your carbohydrates as millets, because then otherwise it also hampers with the absorption of your important minerals like calcium and all. So don't overdo millets. And best is to have it ground in the wheat atta that you're getting ground for your own house. So half kg of 2-3 millets into 5 kg of atta is a good way of introducing millets in your diet. Ragi
So
chila comes up very well. So, and it gives you good calcium. So, why shouldn't you do that? And it's so much cheaper than doing just quinoa.
uh,
Avocado is great. We were talking of another fruit, avocado, but it's so expensive and it
yeah,
has to be just right. You keep it, it's raw. By the time you actually grow, it's gone bad. So, it has to be
yeah.
just the right avocados.
Eat
But we have
local,
our fruits. We have
seasonal, I think.
local
Yeah.
and seasonal. You said
The
it right.
South. Yes, I think in the South we also have, I don't, I think even all over India, a lot of these, what they call as country vegetables. So, they like the drumsticks and the gourds
Yes.
and, the bitter gourd and the, those little different varieties of greens, as you said. And, a lot of those local things are also nice. So anyway, so what
Another
do
thing
you,
I like to add to that is don't throw away your greens. We're talking of money, so we'll stretch our rupee further. You bought one little radish, don't throw away the leaves. Just put them into the dough. At that time, when you were small, you used to make muli ki bhujia for the people who are in Hindi. But otherwise, also you can use those greens into your chapatis. So
that's
they
one.
use, yeah, so healthy. We sometimes just throw away things. That's utilizing our money and stretching our money more.
Yes. But what nutrients are commonly deficient in your practice? You must be seeing so many women. In Indian women, what is commonly deficient, I think?
Well, I think mostly whenever I take a dietary recall, I find most of us, not only women, men, everyone, we are very, very low on our protein intake. I think a normal breakfast is about upma, poha, or a parathi with chai, even a stuff, even from the good social group, who can afford it. And lunch, because we are so hurried and we don't want to take a gravy with us, we take a roti sabji. So again, we are missing on the proteins. The only time we eat dals or pulses at dinner, so that's one katori dal. Then we have our food fads. A lot of food fads, not taking curd, especially in Delhi when it becomes very cold. So we miss out on our proteins. The other thing, women, of course, are prone for anemia, and we obviously because of menstruation and folic acid is another thing. Vitamin D is rampant deficient because none of us are going out and the pollution is only making it worse. And that's another, iodine is another deficiency. So B12, because basically we are vegetarians, most of us are vegetarians. So that's another one deficiency which we are really seeing prevalent in the Indian women, which is affecting their health too. Calcium, again, if you're not taking milk, and as we grow older, we think it's lactose intolerance. And yes, it is a little expensive for some. But so these are main things in women which are deficient in.
And is there any way to find this out? Like, I mean, do you think, of course, we do advocate preventive health and screening, but do we actually screen for all these? I'm sure for anemia or for thyroid or vitamin D, but what about the micronutrients? Is it necessary to, I mean, how do you figure out that you may be deficient or you just correct your overall diet?
I would advise that everybody should actually go for an annual health check, which would include all that. And if they are found deficient, then supplements would be recommended for them. But these are tests which are done very routinely, especially for hemoglobin and B12 if they find if they have symptoms also of deficiencies, the doctor would pick it up. So then they would advise more advanced tests to pinpoint a special micronutrient deficient. But otherwise, these are things like calcium would get done if you do any blood test. Hemoglobin would get picked up. So if you're anemic, folic acid would get picked up if you're anemic. So these things are, and vitamin D is being done routinely now because it's becoming very, very important for bone health. So these are being done routinely. And I think supplements are being given to mostly all, at least once a month, everybody's taking that vitamin D sachet these days.
I'm going to now kind of move to another question, which is kind of repeating. I can see this. It's about the coffee and tea. So there is one question about this black coffee being good for liver health, and there has been quite a few uh, blogs, and there's a lot of doctors actually saying that have 3 cups of black coffee without sugar. It's great for your liver. It reverses fatty liver. Here's Komal asking, saying that she drinks 5 to 6 black coffees a day, and there is a blog which says this will help the fatty liver. How true is that?
Well, I will stick to 3. And also depends again if it's not giving you acidity. If it is giving you acidity, we don't want to solve one problem and get into another problem. There are also many other ways of looking after liver health, having more of antioxidants, including fruits and vegetables, taking fruits and avoiding too much of alcohol, too much of fried foods. So doing that also is important for liver health. So 3 cups of black coffee, I think is enough, quite adequate. But the other things you must do, and in case there is a specific liver problem, then yes, but I think 3 cups of coffee are absolutely fine, and make sure you don't end up with acidity and don't make it too strong, because if it's going to be affecting your gut and your intestine lining, you'll be solving one problem and coming back with another. So I would go with that.
I'm going to take two more questions from Soumya and Mahima. With after which I think I'm going to see whether there are any questions. Have our guests joined at all? Are you there by any chance? The winners, Mantasha and Kushbu, ma'am, are you here? Let's carry on.
Let's move on.
Yeah. So Mahimas asks whether, you should consume, so you're talking about protein. So there is this common idea that you should consume the same protein as your body weight. I mean, like if it's like 60 kgs, you take 1 gram per kg body weight. Is it possible to achieve that without taking some kind of protein supplement or powder is a question,
Oh,
which I'm
yes. I
sure
mean, she's
she
right.
knows very
Protein, yeah, absolutely right. The protein recommendations are 0.8 to 1 gram per kg body weight, and that's the calculation that we also do. And very, very achievable. If you include 2 proteins in every meal, we'll reach there. So I said make a healthy plate, include proteins for breakfast with the milk and dal and curd for lunch, some nuts and seeds during the day, taking a little chickpeas during the day, and dinner again, make sure that either it's cottage cheese or egg or paneer or tofu or soya, not required unless, and we use a lot of nutrition supplements, but for people who are sick, who are not able to eat, or who have, and for geriatrics, for patients where at 70, 80 geriatric, the absorptions are definitely slower. So they need protein supplements at that time, and they have denture problems. So they start having problems on eating. They're not able to include all the food groups, and they have a lot of bloating and IBS, then we would give them a protein supplement. But for young people who are tolerating normal meals, I would still say just take normal meals and you'll be fine, and you don't need to do supplements unless there is a medical problem. Very easily achievable is what I would say.
right. The next bucket that we will move on to is about travel and late nights. So this is something which is quite common in this group of women. So there is a lot of travel, and of course, there might be because of that late nights or because of work meetings or client dinners or whatever. So what would your practical advice be for people who have to travel at odd hours, and there's always this temptation to pick up something unhealthy at the airport, and when you don't sleep enough, there's always this craving for, and then there's that Krispy Kreme counter just sitting there in the airport, so inviting you to have that nice, or maybe a highly sugared tea or coffee to wake you up. So what's your solution for that?
Yes, very difficult situation, really, because I know when you travel, you have all those outlets which are all fast foods, but you do have options for healthy foods also, and you have to decide what you want to eat. I normally would go to a South Indian shop and pick up idlis or dosa, or something which is not too oily, which is not too much of trans fats, but and also make sure that you do a little portion control. If you're picking up a pastry, you can share it with your friend, but try and avoid the creamy ones. You can have your cup of tea or coffee. Ask him to make it without sugar. Everybody is giving a no sugar variant. You actually get used to those flavors if you start taking no sugar tea and coffee. At least avoid all the sugar in your liquids. So once in a while, if you want to have a little sweet, then you don't feel so guilty because you avoid it through the day. So your taste buds get accordingly adjusted. We all grew up with 2 spoons of sugar. We've all now having tea without sugar. So at least sugar is a new cocaine, so we'll try and avoid it. And yes, sleep is important. It does make us, sluggish the next day. But the moment you're back to your normal routine, try and get back into that 7, 8 hours sleep, which is important for your health.
Yes, this is where I also wanted to ask you about sleep and hunger cues. So there is often this, is it true that, when you don't sleep enough, you do get a bit, uh, you start craving for exactly the kind of high fat, high sugar foods? Is it true that this happens?
No, I think it's all in the mind. So if you
All
get up and still eat something healthy and the healthy option is available, then you would not have a problem. Sorry.
Soumya
And
says,
don't keep sweets around you. Nobody will be able to resist if you open the fridge and you find the chocolate sitting there. You're going to pick it up. So don't keep your stacked with sweets. Even the mithais and all, it's so tempting, And every time you open the fridge, you'll have the urge to pick up a little small bit. And it doesn't
it's
stop at that small
very
bit. You handle again, go for the next bit. So it's all in the mind. You'll have to just pick up a healthy option and make sure the healthy options are available around you. Making a cheese sandwich, taking just a cheese slice, putting it on bread and having it, if the soup is ready in the house or a glass of lime juice instead, you can, make lime soda instead. So it becomes like a fizzy drink without picking up aerated drink, which has 7 to 8 teaspoons of sugar. So you just can make a meal very interesting at home also. And, can be a cheese sandwich topped up with little chutneys or topped up with a little salads, some tomato. So it becomes a nice, healthy grilled sandwich at home. Why not? So you're
So
looking
here,
at those questions?
yes, I am. So Sonia
Yeah,
here, I think that they're coming fast and thick, so we might have to look into what our
yeah,
viewers
yeah,
want to
we'll
know,
do
what the
that.
feedback want to know. Does relying on tea, coffee, or quick snacks instead of meals affect productivity in any way?
Yes, it's not giving you any nutrients. So it'll be a quick hype and a dip in your sugars, and you'll feel so sluggish later. You need your energy from balanced meals. As I said, it's not difficult. Having a cheese sandwich, okay, if you're not hypertensive and you're not talking about salt, it's so much better than just going up and picking up a burger. So you have to just think, I mean, is it fried? Is it so much of mayonnaise in this? Should I pick it up or not? So you do have options these days in fast foods also. So you can just look at what are those options wherever you are. Even when you're staying in a hotel, you have all the options. You don't have to pick up those cakes. Don't even go to that cake and the donut bar. It just undoes everything what you've done through the whole week or month. So just pick up healthy foods from there. So of course, you pick up a small bite of something interesting, but make that little comfort food small so that you don't go really haywire and undo what you're doing, planning to do.
Do you prescribe to that theory that, the cheat way of doing it is to kind of have a little bit of something and not keep denying yourself all the time? So when people are into, especially things like keto or avoiding or doing long fasts, so and they're very restrictive in their diets, they say that, one day you kind of crumble and then gobble up all the unhealthy stuff. So is there a way to avoid that? And would the solution be then to, as you say, occasionally, like have a bite of something, or will that lead to, like some sort of unchecked consumption?
I would go with allowing them sometimes. People have a sweet tooth. I've got 32 of them, so I understand, identify them with very well. So keeping dark chocolate, or even if it's a chocolate, buy those small ones. Don't buy those big bars so that you don't, then you're not tempted to have the whole lot. So have the small one, let it sit in your mouth, sort of let it give you that satisfaction that I had my sweet. The next way to do it is make puddings at home, make them without sugar, and use artificial sweeteners, as I would call them, or with less sugar. So if you made kheer at home or you made gajar ka halwa at home, where did you go wrong? You only use carrots and milk. Both are healthy. If you made kheer at home, you used only this much of rice, the rest was milk. And because we've got used to a low sugar taste bud, even that just 1 teaspoon of sugar gives you a nice, and add a little raisins or add a little dates or add a little nuts. So those are calories, but they're healthy calories. And you can make a homemade kulfi, put them in the ice tray, one cube at a time. So you're not cooking every day. Great way to do it. One small little in summers, instead of taking that big cone of ice cream, which gives you 300, 400 calories, you'll manage with 100 calories. And yet it's something more nutritious than what you're eating out. Definitely. Yes, we will need the sugar. So having small amounts is better than going back with the bang and then overdoing it. So small amounts post meals, yes, I think we keep saying no sugars, but we'll all have a little bit occasionally, no harm at all.
When you spoke about artificial sweeteners, I had a question about erythritol and stevia and all that. So, is there anything that you would recommend? Because we did see that erythritol tastes very nice, but then there are some studies on its bad health effects long term or when used excessively. So, what would you have to say?
Yeah, excessive is huge. So if you're taking maybe one sachet, it's fine. Stevia is a better option. Monk sugar is there, which most people are now using, and sucralose. So there are a lot of studies which says small amounts are fine and good to go. But again, the advice is not to put it in every cup of tea, coffee, milk. No. Once in a while, surely. No harm at all.
Here are more questions. Anita asks, what are healthy fats?
Yes, that's always, we've gone through a whole circle of what we should do. We say just 7% of it should come from your saturated fats, which is butter, dalda, pure ghee, dalda, pure ghee. So, and if we use 3% fat milk, that will give us our saturated fats. The rest, just about 1% from trans fats, which is all your fried foods and packaged foods. We shouldn't go overboard on our trans fats. The rest from PUFA and MUFA. So a little of refined oils and nuts and seeds will give us a MUFA. So using, we call it oil rotation, using a little of mustard oil, using a little of peanut oil, using soya oil, or using olive oil, which gives you a balance of all, you'll be able to achieve the proportions that we are advising. So 7% for PUFA, the rest as MUFA is the way we divide our fat consumption.
Right. Here's a question from Rani is the Epigamia brand fruit yogurts. They do have Mishti Doyo. I used to love those things. But are they healthy? And also this Yakult probiotic. So
I've not wanting to talk brands, but
yes,
yes,
we
Yakult
I
is a
do.
probiotic, and
Yes,
I have used it a lot. It's good, but you have to keep the cold chain going. It should, where you pick it up from, you should make sure it's well refrigerated, and you also carry, it in a cold chain. It's sitting in the car for 1 hour and then you say it's going to be healthy. No, so it has to be maintained in a cold chain. And yogurts, read these labels. Anything more than 5% of sugar is not healthy. So definitely nothing like homemade yogurt, but if you're using it, just make sure that they are fruit flavored, but not with sugar.
sugar.
Yeah, we don't want another sugar spike again.
All right. So I think we have joining us from our web team is Mahima and Prachi. Hi, both of you. So do feel free to unmute yourself and ask our expert.
Hi, hi, doctor.
Hi.
Are you able to hear me?
Clear now?
Great. So, firstly, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to ask you these questions. It's a wonderful session. So, firstly, I wanted to ask you if I have a craving at night and I still want to maintain that healthy diet, what kind of meals or go-to snacks I can go for?
Very difficult because I'm not going to ask you to cook at night because I know you're not going to get into the kitchen, but I'm not going to still allow you chips. So be sure you're not going to get chips there. I would suggest you keep a little corn in the house. Just those dry corns, keep it in the
Yeah.
microwave covered. You'll have nice hot popcorns. Tastes nice, and some nice fruits and salads, and make sure that you have lemon on it. Put a dash.
Got
Have a
it.
nice chaat. Or homemade bhel puri. You had murmura in the house. You had little
Yeah,
peanuts in the house. Chop a little onions if you're more adventurous. Otherwise, if you had that nice pudina wala chutney in the fridge, you have a homemade bhel.
that's
Calories,
great.
but healthier calories than a packet of chips. Because that packet of chips, you're not going to leave till you finish that packet. So I'm not going to allow you anyway.
Yeah,
Oh,
like from what I understand, it is more of a habit formation because accessing a packet of chips is so easy that I always resort to that. But definitely we'll keep that in mind. And I also wanted to ask you, being an entrepreneur, we're always juggling from one meeting to other and then also taking care of our homes. So when I'm traveling, what kind of three quick snacks that I can always keep in my bag?
What I do always, I carry some nuts, a nice mixture of seeds with a little cranberries in it to give me a little sweet flavor. And these days you get these nice 10 rupees packets. I always keep roasted gram and moong dal namkeen. Comes with a little trans fat, but it's some better protein than chips again. So, and these are very, very easy to carry. I always have them in my bag. If you get stuck somewhere, and peanuts, another thing. So, healthier options rather than again chips and kurkura, sorry. So, anything else, some nuts and seeds. Small boxes you can carry in your purse, makes it nice.
Got it, doctor. Thanks a lot. Now, I think Prachi also has a few questions, so I'll let her take over.
Go on.
Hi,
Hi,
Hi, Prachi.
thank you, doctor. So, I just had one of the most important questions that I have is how do I mean, is coconut sugar and jaggery really healthier than white sugar? Because I've been hearing that it's literally all over my Instagram. So, is it actually healthy or healthier than white sugar?
I think your voice was really running. But what I heard was that you're thinking, what's the difference between jaggery and sugar? Am I right?
Ma'am, I said, is coconut sugar and jaggery really healthier? Are they healthier alternatives than white sugar?
Well, in terms of calories, all are same. And if you're talking of another things I can include is mishri and khand and honey. They all come with the same calories. But yes, jaggery has small amount of minerals like a little iron. And coconut, yes, the glycemic index is better than pure sugar, definitely. And it also comes with small amount of minerals. But calorie to calorie, all of them are the same. So don't think they are free foods at all. We've all got a misconception, and people are overdoing thinking it is healthy and safe and that they can consume as much as they want. Definitely a little healthier option, but it's not a free food, not at all.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. One more question. So, for someone like me who's not a very morning person, what is the quick and best and also like a very healthy breakfast option for me?
Mm, grab a cheese slice, put it on your toast, top it up with vegetables, and pick up a yogurt. If you don't want to even have milk. Otherwise, as I said, soak the oats at night, churn it all up. It actually tastes nice with your seeds and nuts in it. Make sure that you've got your omega-3 happening and maybe a boiled egg or a scrambled egg. So, and these are not time consuming because I know you're really busy with your meetings. So I'm not telling you to make besan kachila or make stuffed paratha because those are very, very time consuming. So they're very easy to do things. Or if you boil an egg, all you have to do is make an egg sandwich. Or if you had cottage cheese in the house, you had a toaster in the house, you just have to make a, cottage cheese hot toast. So it made sure that, it was a little healthier options than anything else that you pick up from a box or a tin.
Healthy plus delicious. It sounds really delicious. Thank you so much, doctor.
I think we are really out of time, but I thought I would actually just end with one or two questions which are very interesting. So one is a vegan diet. How do you ensure enough protein for
Well,
vegans?
yes. Proteins can happen from dals. That's not the issue. But if there's no milk, then we have to make sure that we take our calcium in different sources. Make sure that we've taken ragi more, sesame seeds more, green leafy vegetables more for our calcium. Proteins, make sure that you've included pulses and lentils and all. You can do matra chaat, as I said, you can do steamed sprouts, which are not time consuming. You can do black chana, chickpeas. So make sure that we take our proteins. Proteins will happen. But if you're absolutely on a no milk also, then make sure that the calcium also happens from other sources, which are good sources of calcium.
Another question which I think is important is any particular nutritional guidelines to follow during the menstrual period?
Well, I think again, avoid too much of salt and make sure that we eat balanced meals. Um, Make sure that, we've had, I think taking warm soups helps, and omega-3 helps. Taking protein definitely helps, and avoiding sugar definitely no. And water, be sure that you're hydrated well during those times. Taking warm fluid definitely helps. So soups with a little ginger, turmeric with milk is very soothing. So these things definitely help.
And my final question would be about self-supplementing. There's always there are a lot of, it's not just about supplements like vitamins or minerals, but today there are so many fads on social media. So there might be people saying detox shots, or there might be people taking creatine powders, or it might be the glutamine supplement. So somehow it all links back to nutrition. So, what would your advice be on that?
I would say no. Unless you have a medical problem where you are deficient and under medical advice, then yes. Oversupplementation has a lot of side effects also, and we keep reading about it also, and we see the fallout in our hospital. We've had one lady who took excess of vitamin D, she ended up with kidney problem. We've had, excuse me, just usko roko. There's a lot of disturbance. Just a minute. Sorry. So no self-set. Absolutely not recommended. Always go to a doctor and then ask him for how long. Because even if you had a prescription where the doctor advised you to take something, but you continue to do it because you think it helped you, which again may cause a problem. So maybe the prescription was for 3 weeks or 3 months. Follow it and go back to the doctor if you still need to continue it or not, and not just continue on it for too long a time. Under medical supervision, nothing over the counter, because everything comes with a little. Excess of anything is bad. Excess of salads would create gut problems. So a good thing in excess can also be bad. Definitely not recommended.
I think that's all we have time for. So, I think just to sum up, today we've learned some important facts. So, skipping meals is silently actually slowing your success and productivity. And when you have concerns like ordering or going in for junk food, you know what the expert said about having plans, having items in the house which are healthy and making quick meals out of them. Protein, timing, hydration, all important, and when traveling also. So I think a lot of it comes with consistent planning and strategizing, just as you do in your careers. So if your day has been filled with meetings, travel, late nights, and long gaps between meals, this conversation should have been helpful to you. So we care about not perfection, but actually about sustainability and progress. So we invite you to keep these conversations going. We've had a very interactive session today. Thank you so much for that. Do stay connected with your health and invest in your nutrition, because that's something which you should be investing in as seriously as you invest in your business. Thank you to Ms. Anita for this wonderful, wonderful session. And thank you to our web team who have joined and lent their voices today. Thank you to everyone else who's joined us. So, to everyone who's building something meaningful, your body is really not a machine, it's your most valuable business partner. Eat like your dreams depend on it. Make it an absolute priority and keep doing it day after day after day, and you will see the results. Thank you so much, and see you soon with another session. So, take
Thank
care.
you. Yeah, so food, sleep, exercise, don't forget that too. Take care. All the best to you.
Thank you.